back, everybody. As I'm back in the shop, this will be like episode 2 of fixing the wheels. And I've got the one wheel done, and the front wheels I've got done, and I'm working on one rear wheel, trying to weld the hub back into it, and I'll show you that down the road here just a little bit. But right now I'd like to thank everybody that watches my progress on this project. And we're going to have a little question and answer session here in a couple weeks. And we're also going to have a drawing for some hats and a 100th anniversary John Deere D tractor model that I'm going to give away. So if you want to be included in those drawings, you'll need to follow and like me on Facebook, or you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then you'll be entered into the drawing. And also, through those avenues, you can send in a question, and we'll try to answer those at our question and answer session here in a couple weeks. So make sure you subscribe and follow. So of course, this is the wheel that I riveted together on the last episode. And then in the meantime, I've worked on the front wheels. And this is the row of spokes that I had to re-weld all the way around. The other spokes, all the other rows of spokes were good, but that row of spokes was all broke. And then I had to redo the holes. So I had to weld those shut and cut them back out. And fill in some holes too. There was an extra hole here that didn't need to be there, so I had to fill that up. But I think I've got them pretty well ready for the powder coater, at least the 3 wheels. And now I'm working on the last rear wheel to get it ready to go. I just wanted to give you a tidbit of information. When you are working on these wheels and using your grinder to grind off the excess weld, it's nice. You got to be careful because the regular grinding wheel will leave a lot of grinding marks. So I recommend you use these fiber discs to finish up with, but you got to leave a little bit of meat left so you can grind out the grinding marks of the weld. So this was a great help, and it really polishes up the wheel in those spots that I welded on, especially the spokes. I need to figure out how to make maybe a jig that will grind those spokes round, but I didn't really have time to do that right now, but maybe down in the future I'll do that. So now on to the fourth wheel, and this is the wheel I'm working on. These wheels are specific to 25 because they lack one row of bolts in between here, right here. In 25, this row was all drilled, but this row, they skipped every other hole. And before that, in 23 and 24, why they eliminated this hole too. And this hole is used for putting on your extension tires. So I didn't have a lot of these wheels to choose from. The ones I got on the tractor right now are correct, but they're really nice, and I kind of wanted to save those for a time when maybe I would do an original tractor and needed those wheels. So they were too nice to paint, I think, is what my point is. So I'm going to work on trying to get this welded up. As you can see, I've got all the spokes beveled. There's a lot of work into that. Getting them all lined up. I'm going to have to cut pieces to go in there to fill up the gap. There was 2 spokes that were gone on the wheel, so I had to rob some spokes from another wheel, and so there's 2 spokes that pretty well line the hub up for the most part, but once again I'll have to rivet those 2 in, and then figure out how to rivet these on. And then, of course, cut these all and weld them back in and grind them down. And that's going to be a lot of work to fill those in. But anyway, in order to get my wheel true and in round, so it's not out of round, so when you're going down the road it doesn't bounce, I made this jig. And I was lucky enough to have a steel wheel or steel tire that was cut in half and didn't have any spokes on it or hub or nothing. And I don't know why I kept it, but I guess I kept it, and it really worked good for this project. So I built it off of another wheel that was original. Hopefully it was straight and true, but I used an original axle so I can slip this wheel down on top of the splines, and then it'll set on top of this half tire, and then I can vice grip it down, and hopefully it will line up all the way around without too much persuasion to get it in round. And then if my hub needs to be pushed in and out one way or the other, I have this piece here that screws on the spline or on the threads, so I can adjust the hub up and down. And if I need to clamp it down together, I can put the nut up here with some washers and really clamp it down tight. So everything will be lined up as far as I don't think you could do any better, but I'm sure I'll have some surprises when I set the wheel on there and start working on it. But that is my rendition of a tire jig. So with that, I got the wheel hoisted up with my chain hoist. I'm gonna slip the jig underneath, let the wheel down on it, and see how far I'm off. Okay, now that I've got my phone repositioned and on the stand, I can move the jig underneath the wheel and drop it down on there. It's a little out of round. I'm probably 3/8 off. It needs to go that way, 3/8. And I think what I'll do is put a jack in here and jack it over and see what it'll do. But it lays pretty flat. And then I've learned that this hub right here, this flat surface where your nut goes on, you should be able to see through here, through your outside sets of square holes. You should see a complete hole, and that hub should be right next to it. But with the axle in there, it makes it a little hard, I guess. So it looks like it should go down a little bit. So I'm going to lift it back up and screw my collar back down. I think my collar is hanging up on I think I'm clear down. I'm going to have to put some spacers between the tires, probably like a 1/4 inch strap or something between there. But anyway, I'm going to work on it and try to get it trued up, and I'll be back hopefully when I get it all trued up. Now I'm back with some progress with this wheel. I put some flat iron between the tires here to lift it up a little bit so I could push the center hub down. I put the nut on there with a race around it, and I screwed that down so I could push that hub down a little bit so I get my position side to side with the tire correct. And then I put a jack in there to push the tire back into round because there's a little oblong, and that tended to line up the spokes quite a bit. And so I got most of the spokes welded on this side anyway. I just got a couple left, that one and that one I'm ready to weld. So I cut a piece in there to fit the gap and beveled it a little bit, and I put an angle iron in there that I clamp it all to so the spoke is straight. and then I'm ready to weld that together, and then we will work on this one and finish it up. And then what's left after that is to start grinding. And once I get everything finished on this side, I'll take it out of the jig and weld everything on the back side and grind it off, and then I'll be done. So we'll have a little bit of video of me welding those together, and then we'll come back later to see the progress on the other side. So I'm ready to weld that spoke together, and I found that the spokes can be easily manipulated with that jack. If you put it in crossways in here against one side of the spoke or the other and push them over, they're pretty easily moved with that jack. So the jack is a good idea. Okay. I gotta keep the splatters out of my angle iron so it always lays flat with the next spoke. And I've got a piece already cut for this. And now it's together. Overall, I'm pretty happy with my jig. I was able to manipulate the wheel with the jack easily to get the spokes lined up and to get the wheel in round. And it was a very good guide. So I hope it comes out true and round. So with that, we'll move on down the road, and I'll get back with you as I finish it up on the other side. Okay, so I'm ready to finish up this wheel. I got 2 spokes I got to rivet in the center and rivet on the outside of the steel tire. So I'm ready to heat up the rivets and start going through that procedure. Knocked at my stick. I don't know why it doesn't want to squash it down quite enough. Well, anyway, I gotta repair my set and turn the wheel over and get the other two on the other side. Okay, I'm ready to put the two in on this side. Now, let's see what happened to my other rivet. Oh, went down the hole. I'm gonna have to go get my drill and drill that hole out a little bit, so shut off the video. Okay, I'm ready to put in the last rivet on the hub. Okay, got the hub finished up. Now I got to put these rivets in out here, so I'm going to have to figure out a way to brace that against the hub here, and it's going to take me a little bit to find to make a set to do that. So I'm going to switch off the video and come back later and finish this up. Okay, I'm back. I've got a set worked up here that I can go to the rivet and to the center shaft and tighten it up in there and hopefully hold the back side of that rivet, so I'm gonna try it. Okay, that's good and tight. Heat it up one more time. Bend my bolt. Okay, I'll have to cut a rivet and be back. Okay, I flipped the wheel over and I'm ready to put this rivet in here. So I'll heat it up and get it in there. In there tight. So looks like it's getting tight. So anyway, that's gonna be it for now. I'm short 2 rivets to finish up that wheel, but I'm gonna end this episode. until I get a rivet, and I'll finish them up later. But anyway, if you want to be included in the drawing coming up here in a couple weeks, follow us on Facebook and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you have a comment or question, submit those, and we'll see you down the road.